You know, after many hundreds of personal coaching calls that I've done in the last 5 or 6 years, it's not uncommon for me to be asked, what can you do to help me? But last week, it wasn't in so much the wording, but in the tone that prompted me to retell a story that I'd heard earlier this year. And while he wasn't expecting me to start our call this way, it certainly helped to create much clearer expectations. Hey everybody, it's Ed the Trainer, and I'll share that with you next on this week's Tips on Tuesday. So going into an initial goal planning session can be difficult for some people and with some people, especially if they're not happy about being there in the first place, like when the call is paid for by an employer and the employee's only expectation is that I'm going to waste his time. You see, I get that there's a certain amount of skepticism when working with a tutor or a coach, and I also definitely understand trying to establish quickly, from his perspective, what's in it for me. But when I'm told directly, look, I really didn't ask for this call and I'm not sure what you can tell me that I can't do for myself, with an attitude, well, at that point, I really just have to take a minute and reset everything. So I said to him, look, it's interesting that you'd express it that way, you know, something that you could do for yourself, because that's exactly what I want to know. What are you willing to do? For yourself, that is. Do you want a ladder or a rope? He was confused. So I added, it seems to me that you want somebody to pull you along. I mean, your company is paid for us to speak, and now you're coming at me with doubt and negativity, rather than a willingness to work with me to help you put things together. You see, I continued, I can provide you with the ladder and help to make it steady by tightening up your understanding of basic concepts, but you might be disappointed to learn that it's going to be you who actually have to make the climb. So, are you willing to do the work? I mean, I'm certainly not going to drag you along on the rope that you think that I can provide for you if you're not willing to contribute a thing. Because if this is your attitude, what you're showing me right now, you're going to get real heavy really fast. And at that point, man, I'm going to have to reconsider whether I want to waste my time. So what kind of guy are you? The ladder or the rope? And I waited silently. My salespeople out there understand, right? At this point, the person who speaks first loses, right? So I'll tell you what he chose in a minute, but first, let's take a second or two to think about the psychology. You see, the rope is the easy choice, because all you have to do in this case is hang on. That's your responsibility. Whether you succeed or fail, rise or fall, many might argue that it's not really up to you. It's up to the person or the organization pulling or simply holding the rope. So if you don't get the results that you're seeking, there's always someone else to blame. After all, you did your part, didn't you? I mean, you held on. Choosing the ladder is more difficult because it's you that has the choice to climb. As few or as many of the rungs as you'd like, but the decision is yours to make. Certainly, it's a reasonable expectation that the ladder be sound and sturdy. But again, assuming that, only you are to blame for not scaling it at whatever pace that you can. And for the record, my guy chose to work with me, and his efforts led to an increased test score of 19 points after a 90-minute phone call. So let me ask you, are you looking for a ladder or a rope? Look, You don't need to tell me, but at least be honest with yourself. And then just do me a favor. If you want to be dragged, please consider at least lightening the load a little by having a good attitude. Thanks for tuning in with me this week, everybody. I can't tell you how truly humbling it is to me to think that anyone would take even a few minutes of their time to watch this show regularly. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.